Rebecca Lindquist, the American Accent and Speech Coach in the Silicon Valley, and I'd like to share with you today ways that you can improve your American English through tongue usage and jaw exercises. Now, many of you have seen my articulation movement and many of my pronunciation exercises in the past. Those of you that are past clients know that I walk you through every specific sound as well as word stress and intonation and breath and other patterns of movement when we work together. However, today what I'd like to share with you is a way to improve the movement in your tongue, the tenseness and alertness in your tongue, as well as some jaw exercises to release tension. Now, in my opinion, these two things are what helps non-native speakers to pronounce words in American English and to present with greater confidence and clarity. So let's start with the tongue thrust. And how this works is you take your tongue, and I recommend that you use a mirror when you do this, or a webcam or video device, but basically stick out your tongue. Now, most non-native speakers, when they stick out their tongue, it'll look like this. It'll just be hanging in your mouth with little tension or movement. And instead, you want the tongue to move away from the lower teeth and lip. It could even go up a bit at the end like this. And if you look at your tongue in the mirror, you'll see a midline. Can you see my midline? So there's a line, a muscle line of tension all the way down the entire tongue, from the back of the tongue, the root actually connects at the hyoid bone, but basically from the root all the way up the tongue, through the dorsum, which is the middle of the tongue, to the blade, to the tip. But it doesn't start at the tip. If it were to start at the tip, it would look like this. See how the tongue is shaking and there's no tension? Instead, it starts from the root of the tongue, and then the tongue thrusts forward like this, without resting on the lip. I call this the tongue thrust, and you want to start with that as a beginning exercise before you begin speaking as your warm-up. Now, while your tongue thrusting, notice your tongue may be shaking. This is a good sign. It means you're using a muscle you don't normally use, which could be a good thing for practice. Now take your tongue and pretend you'd like to touch your nose. That'll give you lots of tension in the tongue. And now think about your upper lip. Are you leading with your upper lip? Is it moving? And are your teeth showing? So we want tension in the upper lip, awareness and alertness, and tension in the tongue, midline, thrust. Now pull the tongue straight back and make this sound. Arr! And make the tongue, if you can, think of making the tongue grow this direction with your versalis muscle like this. Arr! Now, many non-native speakers curl the tip of the tongue, which isn't wrong. That's an initial R. But for the R sound, you might want to think about pulling your tongue back. And many sounds in American English have this R sound. So that's the first thing. The second thing I'd like to show you after doing the lip awareness with the teeth showing, the upper lip, and the tongue thrust, is a jaw release. The jaw release is done a couple of different ways, and I recommend doing a series of 3 movements. The first movement is done by finding the fleshy part of your hand, then taking the index finger and the thumb, positioning your hand under your lower lip, and then moving your hand, touching your jaw, and then slowly moving downward as you say, ah. Now, once you've done that, can you keep your neck nice and long so the neck doesn't get to squeeze back? The neck is long in the back. The suboccipital, which is this joint in the back, is allowing the back of your neck to get really long. Your chin is down. And as you move your hand, again, under the lower lip, touching and moving, and saying, ah, but can you now take your fingers and your thumb and massage this muscle and open the jaw like this? Ah. If you do this correctly, you should feel a stretch through the side. Let's do that again. Ah. Notice I'm going clear to the end, to what I call the chinny chin chin. Most clients, when I first show them this, only go here. Ah. So the stretch is not ah, it's ah. Because you want to get maximum stretching through the side. Now that's not sufficient for most people. So the next step is just to do a stretch and hold by putting the fingers of the right hand and the thumb on the chin. So fingers on the neck, on the side of the neck, on the left-hand side, thumb on the chin, then the other thumb, the left-hand thumb on the left cheek and the fingers on the right cheek as you make your neck long, stretch and hold. You might want to do that stretch several times. You might want to hold it as long as 40 to 50 seconds. Hold it at least 30 seconds because then you'll get the maximum release in the muscle that you need to have to get some type of result. Of course, you can hold it longer. So when I use the word maximum, I mean that I should maybe perhaps say minimum, because you need to hold it at least 30 seconds to get a good release or a maximum release. Then if you want to hold it longer, you can. Different people prefer to do different things. Let's do it together one time again. Fingers on the throat, thumb again of the right hand on the chin, left hand, thumb, and fingers, stretch and hold, and release. One last stretch for the jaw is a resistant stretch where you take the thumbs under the chin and the fingers here on the middle of the chin. As you open your mouth, you mostly use the thumbs to resist. What I mean by resist is it's easy to open your mouth, but can you open your mouth while resisting with the fingers, the thumbs, so that it's more challenging and you slowly push against your thumbs until your mouth opens. Now hold your mouth open, move the fingers here in the middle of the chin, and resist the close. This is the most important part of the exercise. Chin is down, neck is long. And release. Let's do that again very slowly. And release. I would practice these exercises several times a day. If you're in pain, do less and make the movements very, very slow and small until you get more comfortable with them. You might want to speed them up, but slowness is always good when doing this type of muscle work. And then notice when you're done, perhaps record yourself and see if, without trying anything else differently in terms of your speech, you don't sound more native-like while you're articulating. You should feel more comfortable, more confident, and more clear in your American English. See you soon.